Did you ever think it was going to be this good, Bertie?
No, I didn't. I really didn't know what to think it was going to be like.
What do you mean?
Well, I didn't understand business, and I didn't think this was too businesslike. And I didn't really know what to think in those days because I didn't really know much about life.
You were a baby, the baby of 16 children in Rome, New York.
Yes.
Your dad did what for a living?
He worked at Revere Copper and Brass, a mill in Rome.
So he had to really keep cracking to take care of 16 children.
Well, he started working there when I was about 3, so up until then he was a farmer and different things.
How in the world? Now, you have 7 children.
We have 7.
7 children between you. Did it ever occur to you, Bertie, Dexter, did it ever occur to you that you were going to wind up multi-millionaires and from Amway?
Not really. Back when I was about 12 years old, I used to dream about being rich someday, and, you know, I sort of had that goal of what could happen, but when I got in this business, I was looking for freedom. I wanted to have my own business, and that was more important than having wealth. I think wealth is a natural outgrow of committing yourself to something that you enjoy doing.
You know, that sounds like Amway literature, but I can't believe that you're... Come on, Bertie. Didn't the two of you, late at night, 16, 17 years ago when you started with Amway, didn't you say, hey, we want to be rich?
Oh, yes. That's why we dreamed and everything else, and I used to dream as a teenager of being rich, but at that time I didn't know what rich was. Rich was having a little bit more than what we had.
$25,000 a year at that time we would have been millionaires in our own mind.
Well, of course. I remember going to college. This was little more than 40 years ago. I used to think that $10,000 a year, now that was really
rich
security.
Yeah, that's right.
And the richer you get,
the more that you can see and the more that you know you're not rich.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, it depends on what world you're looking from. Back when I was dead broke, making $95 a week, if I made $8,000 that year, I would have been rich.
Sure.
And I remember back in the early days when we first got into business, and Rich DeVos came into a big function. And he got up there and he said, "You're never going to get rich in Amway. You'll make some good money, but you're never going to get rich in Amway." And I sat there and I said, how can he say that, man? If I make just a little bit more than what I'm making now, I'll be rich. You know, and I was looking around at everybody in the business, to me, was rich.
Well, why did he say that? I mean, Rich DeVos is the gospel singer of Amway. He and Jay Van Andel are the two big fellas.
Rich and Jay have always been very conservative, and they have always played down the potential because they want to make sure that nobody out in the field is selling it for something it isn't.
You once said, Dexter, I don't have to get up in the morning to go to work. Can you imagine such a disgusting word in our vocabulary as work?
I think so many people, you know, hate their work. And I don't really feel I work. I do what I like to do. And, you know, Abe Lincoln said many years ago, man's just about as happy as he makes up his mind to be. And I think so many people work so hard today to make themselves hate their work, like they're doing the thing they dislike. And I think that's why we got a day of so many ulcers and so many problems. Instead of making up your mind, I'm going to find something good in what I do, and I'm going to enjoy it.
But somebody's got to do the work. Not everybody can enjoy, I mean, not everybody can join Amway. Then there'll be nobody else to sell to.
Well, you know, it's like my driver. Okay, I've got a coach. I travel around the country, and I've got a driver.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's in the business, and he's going to be a direct someday. And I just told him, I said, look, you're in training to be where I'm at. And I never had a chance to be a driver, so I know how a driver should be, you know, and work for somebody else in that capacity. I said, but you're learning how to have your own driver someday. So he enjoys what he's doing. Everybody has to do something. But the one thing we got to learn to do is to enjoy what we're doing, and if we don't, get out of it and do something else.
What does J.O.B. mean in Amway?
J.O.B. is a phrase that I coined. I called it, I used to be the jackass of the boss. And that's why I used to have jobs that I didn't like. And I'd go to work, and the boss would just come in the room, and I used to have a very poor self-image. A very poor self-image. The boss would walk in the room, and I'd start trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I remember one time when I was at Sears Roebuck, the boss came up and he stood there like this and he's looking at me, and I had this big pile of power saws. And I was carrying them over to stockroom, and he got me so nervous I just dropped them. And then I fumbled one thing after another thing after, and I could not do anything right. And the longer he stood there, the more stupid I was. And that's because I had a job, and I didn't have a confidence in me. And as you get doing something you love, and you really enjoy it, then you feel more comfortable with it, and you're better at it, and the outside sources don't bother you as much.
What's a stinking thinker?
Stinking thinking, I tell people, a lot of people treat their head like a garbage can with a hairy lid. And they got stinking thinking. And a lot of people do. See, they see the worst of everything. They're always trying to make everything the worst side they can. And you got to make it the best side. You can't make your life a stinking life. You got to make it a sweet smell of success, wherever we are. People say, what's success? Doing better than what we're doing today.
You say that nobody has failed in Amway.
No, people quit.
A lot of people quit.
A lot of people quit. A lot of people get in.
Maybe 3 out of 4 quit in the course of a year.
I only know about my own facts. We've sponsored, Bertie and I, roughly about 50 people, and about 40 of them are still in. So those are the only facts that I can go on.
But
now,
you know the statistics that you hear elsewhere, that maybe 1 in 80,000 people make more than just a minimum living out of Amway.
Those facts I don't know. I know that the facts are that the majority of the ones that I work with make it.
And that has something to do with you, do you think?
That's because I love them. That's because I really love them. They're like my kids.
And when you say the majority of the people that you sponsor make it,
yes.
Make what?
Whatever they want out of the business. It's always the next goal, the next achievement. See, like when I got into business, I wanted to be a direct. Well, I was a direct in 60 days. But after I was a direct for a while, you know, I wanted more. And it
A direct means that instead of getting your products from your sponsor, you get them direct from Amway.
From the company, and the check comes from the company instead of your sponsor. Mm-hmm. Now, I got there, and I mentally plateaued because I was mentally there for a period of time. So I stayed direct for about 3 years. And everybody that came in was passing me by. And I was just there. But I had to take a while to get my head screwed on straight because I got what I wanted out of the business up until then, and I had to get a new mental image. I had to get a new picture of what I was going for before I could start shooting for something again. I had to get my head screwed on straight.
Well, you got it screwed on straight because you make $500,000 a year out of Amway today, don't you?
Yes, we do. And I don't know exactly what I make, but I know I make a lot of money. And
but you don't sell products yourself anymore, do you?
we sell a little bit, but not a whole lot. Originally, when I first got into business, I used to sell probably about $600 a month just to our friends and stuff. And then as we got more and more busy, we had to give our customers to some of our distributors to have them take care of, because it's very important that customers are taken care of. So we had to move on to the next more important thing, and that was working with the people that we had gotten involved.
And what has been your function along the way, Bertie?
Just kind of helping him and doing
What does that mean,
paperwork.
just kind of helping him?
Well, whatever I guess he needs to have me do that day. In the beginning, I did paperwork, and I had customers, and I took care of the kids, and I did mostly paperwork and answered the phone and kind of encouraged them when they'd call, or handle their little situations if it was product situations and things like that. But it grows. Your role grows as your business grows, I guess.
Now, I'm fascinated to see how many wives work very, very closely with their husbands in Amway,
Yes.
more than almost any business that I have had anything to do with or know much about.
Well, I guess that's been probably my biggest role, is helping the wives help their husbands.
In other words, you sort of evangelize for them, help them, answer their questions.
Teach them how.
We work pretty much with a husband and wife relationship. And, you know, when people talk to me about the figures of dropouts and stuff, I always look at marriage, okay? They always tell us in the first 5 years, 50% of the marriages fail. And, you know, yet Bertie and I refuse to let ours fail. Not that our marriage hasn't been through hard times. If you're married 25 years, you're going to go through the ups and downs.
I'm going to be saying, you know, all that stuff about but not a damn word, but not a word about a product. How come?
Well, the products, we all use the products. We become experts in personal use. You don't have to explain our products to people because everybody uses them. And Amway does a fabulous job in the ammograms and in every aspect on the products.
In other words, these people are all Amway people out there, so you don't have to tell them how good the things are?
Right, right.
Another thing, too, this was a celebration of what the business either had done for people or was going to do for people. And it was just kind of a celebration weekend, and they just came to learn some techniques, a few little things, and get their dream back, because maybe in the last 3 or 4 months some people had tried to steal it. And it's kind of a thing where they just come together to renew their dreams. And
what do you mean,
such.
In the past few months, perhaps somebody had tried to steal their dream, Bertie?
Well, people will try to steal people's dreams, because we had it a lot when we were building this business. People would try to steal our dreams. My family tried. They didn't know they were trying, but they did. They said little things like, well, do you have to eat, live, and sleep this business? And at the time they said it, I didn't know. And so I didn't know what to say, and I'd think about it, and it really, those little things steal your dream if you're not strong enough to combat it.
Yeah, but there's lots of people out there, I'm sure, who haven't up to now made very much, if anything, out of Amway. What do you tell them when month after month, year after year, they would like to, but somehow they can't?
It's not that they can't. It's that you've got to keep telling them you can do it. You got to keep giving people faith over and over. It's like training a star athlete. If a person makes up their mind they're going to make it, and they'll hang in there long enough, they're going to make it. They may, you know, like if you're training that athlete, he may break a finger, break a leg, he'll take a bad fall, he'll do this and that, but you got to help them get back up on their feet. And you got to do it again and again. When I was a kid, I lived in Rome, New York, and I lived at the end of the runway. And they had all these GIs training to be pilots. And every time a plane would come down, automatically the sky within hours would be full of planes, because they made all the pilots go back up and fly again, because they had to get over that fear of that accident. And immediately they'd get everybody in the air. And that's the thing that
every time a plane came down and crashed.
Right.
Every time there was a crash and somebody got killed, they'd automatically take all the pilots and put them in the air instantly, so that they would get over the fear. If they waited, the longer it was before they went up again, the less the odds were they'd get them up. And that's the same thing here. People are going to fall and they're going to stumble. See, most people haven't ever been in sales and been involved in people. And people are fantastic, but some people can hurt. Some people can come and steal your dreams, like Bertie says. And I wrote a book, Don't Let Anybody Steal Your Dreams, simply due to the fact that's the one challenge most people have to conquer. When we came south, when we decided to move south, people started telling us it's full of cockroaches, you won't like it, the sun, this. We love it. But they tried to take away that dream. When I was a little kid, my dad wanted to buy a hotel in Myrtle Beach. And him and my uncle was a carpenter, my dad was a plumber, and they had this big dream of buying this hotel. And they went back to the family to talk to them. They were going to raise money. And the rumors were out with the hotel sinking, and the hotel was burned, or was torn down a couple years ago. It never sank in the ocean. But all those rumors are out there. Every time we try a new venture, if you know you were going to become the world bowling champion, and I see this. I speak in high schools with the kids. I just love kids, and sometimes I don't know when to stop talking. They take me in sometimes 45 minutes, and it's 3 hours. But kids come up to me and tell me, well, I want to be a runner, and my mom and dad don't understand. And I have to sit down and say, just keep loving them. And keep doing what you got to do, and explain to them that you want to do this, but you submit to them, and you respect them. If you respect them, they'll respect your wishes.
Yeah, I must say, you're talking about submitting
Jesus
to people.
spoke, most of the time he spoke was about money.
Oh?
He gave many
True.
business principles. I read a book many years ago, In His Steps, and none of us are perfect, okay? And I don't try to be. Such as a lot of people don't understand Christianity today. A lot of times you get a battle between the Christians and the Jews, and there should never be. You know, when I became a Christian, I got accepted into a Jewish family because Jesus was a Jew. And so I love the Jews. If it wasn't for the Jews, I wouldn't have a Jesus. And a lot of people don't understand what Christianity and the love of the fellow man is all about. I don't have to like things that people do, but I love them. If somebody does something dirty to me, I still got to love them because they don't do things on purpose. They do things because they got a problem.
I see overtones of religion in Amway.
In my Amway. Not everybody's Amway. Everybody has their own Amway.
Well, the Amway that I've been hearing about for the past 48 hours here in Charlotte, North Carolina, there's been a fair amount of talk that has religious overtones.
Well, yes, that's me. I'm a Christian, and I don't hide it. And a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, Dexter, you're trying to use God, aren't you? I say, well, you know, the Bible tells us to pray and to make God part of our everyday life. And yes, I want to use God to benefit other people. I want them to see Him and me. That's what I'm supposed to be as a Christian. I'm supposed to be somebody here that's productive and loving my fellow man. Now, as far as what the truth is, sometimes because of my Christian witness, I turn people off and it costs me a lot of business. But I won't give up my faith and my stand no more than those Jews in Germany denied that they were Jews. They made a stand that they were Jews and they died for it. And I died for my faith.
And I see a lot of, obviously, a lot of anti-communism, a lot of...
Yes, true Americanism.
Through free enterprise.
We believe that America is the greatest country in the world, and too many of us sell it short. It's not perfect, like we're not perfect, but it is the only hope of the free world. And we've got to keep the free enterprise system alive because that's what made America great. It's the people, and Amway's the people. America is just land and dirt and rivers and trees, but it's the people that makes America better and greater than all the other nations in the world. And that's the same thing with Amway. It's the people.
You know, one thing that I didn't hear a word about during this entire 48 hours, I don't think I heard a word about an Amway product. I heard about people and love and Christianity and Judaism and patriotism and anti-communism, but I didn't hear a word about soul. You're talking about submitting to people. I get women have a very important part to play in Amway.
Yes.
But it's always, it seems, 2 steps behind the fellow.
Well, yes and no. A man needs to be head of the home to feel like a man. And he's got to rule and run. But a real man, he wants to go out and conquer and achieve for the gal that he loves. He wants to go slay the dragons for his princess. And my achievement, you know, a lot of it, the world can say whatever they want, but this gal's my queen, and I want to conquer the world for her.
So you make your $500,000 out of Amway each year and you let her spend it?
Well, she gets what she wants.
Final question, I think. 10,000 people, let's say, came here this weekend.
Yes, roughly, I guess.
Okay. They had to pay admission?
They had to pay to come in.
How much each night?
It was a package deal, and it's $15 per head to come in for the weekend.
So 10,000 times 15 is $150,000 gross.
Something like that.
And then you sell them all kinds of tapes and records? We don't
sell them anything. We allow other people, for an example, Sammy Hall comes in and the Golds come in, and they entertain, and they got T-shirts and music and everything, and they make money there this weekend from selling that stuff. But these guys are, every week during the day, they're in a losing ministry in the schools fighting the dope problems and everything else. And whatever profit they make, we allow those people to come in and make whatever profit they can make to support their ministries, because we believe in those ministries and those are causes.
But even that $150,000 for the weekend, don't you make some money out of that yourselves?
Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. Depends on the show and the expenses. And we don't go into it as a profit-making venture. We go into it as something that's needed. The first one I had, I was made $25,000 for the whole year in my business. And the first function I had, it cost me $5,000. I went in the whole $5,000. But it was worth it because, you know, you're putting it all on the line for one weekend. One weekend a year, you're putting it all on the line. So you try to do the best, and you want to eat, live, and sleep. And sometimes, you know, I've gone to 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning because you're just trying to give them that extra ounce that they can get out there and make it. You know, so to go for it.
It's quite a show. It's apparent, Dexter, that you're her hero. Do you have any?
Yes, I have a lot of heroes. Clean Americans, guys like Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel. I love the President of the United States for his commitment at 70 years of age when he doesn't have to. I love guys like Red Skelton. I've had J. Paul Getty. I've read his book, As I See It, and he was just so honest, and he put it on the line, and there's so many great Americans like that you just fall in love with. W. Clement Stone, he just put it on the line. Hilton, when he built the hotels. Guys that are sharing with other people that want to come up. But you know, it's sad, so many people ending up, I get accused a lot of times of brainwashing people. And I say, yes, I like to clean their brains up because so many people are reading Playboy and they're reading junk, when they should be reading the lives of people that have made it, so they quit crying about their problems and do something. If we had more people reading J. Paul Getty's books, we'd have less people on welfare.
People say, well, come on, Amway has become a kind of cult. It's almost a religious cult. People worship Dexter Yager, or they worship Van Andel and DeVos. You're brainwashing people.
There's a big difference between worshiping and loving. Mike, I love you because you're a successful man and you're committed to what you're doing. Whether anybody else does or not, I love you, and I don't have to judge my love on what they do. And some people are going to love me because they want to do what I'm doing. And some people aren't going to love me. And that's just the way it is. I want as many to love me as possible, but I'm not going to win them all. And I'm not a god. I'm not somebody to worship. And I think people like me more because they see my mistakes. You know, a guy that doesn't make many mistakes isn't doing anything. And the more you do, the more mistakes you make. I'm far from perfect. I never will be. And people relate to that a lot easier. I couldn't relate to a perfect man. I'd have to say, yeah, he's one of a kind. I'm not one of a kind. Anybody can do what I'm doing. They just got to want to. It's not easy. You got to pay the price. You got to be committed.
Bertie, is he an easy fella to live with?
Yes and no.
I think he is now, since I've begun to understand him. I didn't understand how anybody could be a workaholic and love it, because I wasn't that way. But as I began to open my mind a little bit more and realize what he was like, I began to understand more of him, and now